Hey guys, just finished watching Krypton, Season 1, Episode 8, Savage Night. Wow, what an episode. So this episode starts off with 2 weeks ago. We go back to the first episode. So it's interesting that only 2 weeks have kind of passed in between since in the whole season so far, which is quite interesting seeing that. I mean, the events do take place very close to each other, so it wouldn't make sense 2 weeks, but it feels a bit longer than that. But I guess it's just because we watch it, so weekly and stuff. But if they had dropped it all, probably would feel a lot more like 2 weeks. So Adams, we go back to Adam's time when we first saw him in the beginning of this season, and he shows up and then he disappears. We go back with him, and we end up meeting or hearing Zardath, who created the Zeta Beam. I have his wiki page here. Yeah, Zardath is a scientist from the planet Ran, close friends and ally to Adam Strange. Created the Zeta Beam technology, and his daughter Alana later becomes involved and eventually marries Strange, and they have a kid called Aaliyah Strange. So it doesn't look like they've had that at this point yet. They're not there yet. And then Brainiac ends up, ripping, or the Brainiac and as a row type thing, they're ripping the Genesis, starts using the Genesis hammer to taking the energy from it. And then they want to use Darren Vex to attack. They want to use that opportunity to attack him. This episode, the whole point is to attack the Rao, attack Brainiac while he's plugged into this stuff, so that he would be kind of vulnerable. So they go to find Darren Vex's body, and they end up finding him still alive. And then General Zod goes to Black Zero for backup. Seg-el ends up bringing Devin M to the Fortress of Solitude, which was pretty cool seeing that, and I'm pretty interested to see how that's going to change the rest of this show. Black Zero joins the fight in exchange for Darren Vex, so later on we do get a cool moment between Nisa Vex and her father type thing, as she's giving him over pretty much to Black Zero to his death type thing, so that'll be cool seeing that. That'll be cool that storyline, I guess he's gone. And then we get back to the future again, with we hear Alana Vex is the one that actually sent Strange back. She convinces her father, and it does sound like they actually have a relationship. It's unclear whether or not they actually have a kid or if they're married at this point. So that'll be quite cool to see where things go, and it's quite interesting to see that, especially with Alana. Or at least Zardath, her father, is a pretty old character. He's from Showcase number 17 back in 1958. So he's a pretty old character. That's really cool seeing that, and it was quite interesting seeing that. At first, when I saw Adam Strange go back, I was just like, is this going to be the Justice League? Is this going to be Batman? Is this going to be someone else's voiceover? At first, I thought it sounded like Jor-El from Smallville, the guy who actually played, I forget his name, but who also played General Zod in Superman 2, Christopher Reeves type thing. That guy who also voiced Jor-El within the Smallville show, which is perfect casting for that Smallville role. Strange goes to Darren Vex to stop Brainiac, or to continue help Brainiac type thing go. So he can, save Superman. And interesting with that is when we're at in the Fortress of Solitude, we see that the cape is in the background. We never really get a full shot of the cape, or no one's ever looking at the cape, or no one's asked whose cape this is, especially Lita Zod or Nisa Vex. They're both there in the Fortress of Solitude, and they'd never seen any of that before. They didn't know it even exists. They heard about it, heard the rumors about it, that Val Ellis talked about it years ago, 14 cycles ago, but they didn't really know about it. So we do see the Superman cape in the background, and it looks like it's only about 2 to 3 feet long, 4 feet long at most, because we saw it from an angle very far, but it doesn't really look like it's that big. So that's really going to be cool to see if we get to see it anytime soon. How much is left? Is there like maybe a couple of inches, less than a foot, in between the end of the cape and the yellow Superman logo on the back, which is pretty cool that they actually have it rather than keeping it just all red, just like in Supergirl and in the movies and stuff. It's really cool. I like having that yellow S on the back. It's pretty cool with that. So that's really cool seeing that. It's really going to be cool to see how close we're getting to things becoming wiped out and stuff like that. And General Zod mentions the Phantom Zone. He also mentioned to Jaina Zod, and Jaina Zod's face actually lights up when he mentions Jor-El. almost as if like she had heard that name before, but obviously it's the L name before, and he's not, he knew full well what he was doing when he was telling her that, it's L, and clearly Jor-El is his grandson type thing, so his is going to be seg-el's son, so that's going to be quite interesting to see that if at any point does seg-el ever hear that name, because if seg-el hears that name and he's all of the belief that he doesn't want, because he can hear the name Kal-El all he wants, it doesn't matter if he's not around. If he doesn't tell Jor-El to not name his son, unless he tells his son Jor-El, make sure you do not name your son Kal-El type thing, then that could change history and change everything. But if seg-el finds out that his son he's going to name his son Jor-El, he might decide, no, I'm not going to name my son Jor-El because I want to change time. I don't want to be in this fate. I don't want to save our planet from blowing up. So I think that's really going to be a cool idea to see where things go with that, and to see how things go with this in a season 2. So I think it's going to be cool to see where things go with this, and hoping that we do get a season 2 with this. So then the Rao ends up getting shot. It falls on the Genesis chamber and stuff. But the Rao ends up coming back, and the body is dead, but Brainiac's still able to move it and stuff. You can see the body is all beat up and stuff. Jaina Zod ends up warning Seg that she thinks that General Zod might be here to rule. And when with the Rao gone, Black Zero does mention to General Zod, since he's dead now, who's gonna take the place of leader of this planet type thing. And he does, smirk to himself, oh yes, this would be a good fight. So he is probably here to try and rule and stuff, and rule over Kandor and rule over Krypton and change the history. So it's really going to be cool to playing with that. Ona shows up, and she's sent by Brainiac as a bomb. That was just such a good moment. It really didn't hit me super hard, but it was such a unpredictable moment that it was a great idea, and I'm gonna like to see. I liked having that, and that was a good ending for the character. And what a moment it was. And then Adam Strange ends up jumping in and kind of Zeta beaming himself out of there and protecting him. Although I need to look at the clip again, because it was kind of weird the way it happened, because I could see how Adam Strange was protected around it, but it looked like the explosion from the person from Ona, it looked like it still should have at least scarred or burnt, or at least maybe their jackets had been on fire, or at least damaged by it. Unless, and I thought for a second that maybe Adams was going to touch seg-el, and, that kind of take him with him, and he kind of touch him and then press the button so that he teleports him out of time and then go right back. That could be quite interesting to seeing that. And then seeing a little bit of, what would seg-el think about this whole future type thing. And then maybe he could see bringing him to the future for like a very short period of time, just enough for him to read, one newspaper article or one article of Superman doing something saviors, which you don't have to actually cast someone as Superman, just, he's zooming by and highlight reel on the news of him saving stuff, and that's why, and doing some Earth, like saving Earth multiple times type thing. I think that could be quite an interesting idea to have played with, is if you had seg-el just going to the future for like 5 minutes, seeing that one highlight reel of Superman, and then going back, just to be like, oh crap, yeah, he saved this, he saved that many stuff, that, is our planet really worth all the stuff that Superman ends up doing to show him? Because for right now, it's all just theoretical, that to seg-el, it's not really, he has no proof that it's really going to happen. He hasn't seen it. It's not tangible to seg-el. So I think showing him, bringing him to the future, showing him a highlight reel of Superman's greatest save thing, could be quite an interesting thing too. And also could also be an interesting idea to see Doomsday, how much Doomsday is able to kind of, maybe a quick highlight reel that kind of also shows seg-el how strong Superman is, and then also showing him maybe Doomsday and how devastating Doomsday is, and then that Superman ends up defeating him, but almost at a toll type thing. I think that could be an interesting idea to play with. Although we don't know if this Adam Strange, does he know that has where Adam Strange's time is from? Has Superman been killed yet by, or quote unquote killed by Doomsday yet? That would be a cool thing to play with. So all in all, it was quite interesting. I think they missed an opportunity right there with the way when Adam Strange teleported. He could have taken Seg with him. And I guess why did he? And we don't know where he ended up going. He just pressed the button and took off. So we don't know who he's going. And he's about to say at the end, he ends it with what the, and they starts about to say the F word and it cuts. And it's unclear because I think the way they're doing it is there's two different options for him. He could be like, what the heck, what he could be saying, what's going on. Or he could know that person, whoever he was looking at. I thought at first when I saw the boots, I was like, oh, and then I saw like the cloak. I was like, oh my god, could this be Clark Kent? And then I saw the hands, I was like, oh, maybe it's Lois Lane instead, because I could see us seeing Lois Lane. Maybe not Superman, but I could see us seeing Clark Kent maybe, and that would be really a long shot. But I could easily see us seeing a version of seeing Lois Lane. I think that could be quite interesting, seeing that and seeing where things go here. So I think it's going to be cool to see where things go with this, and if there is an opening for a season 2, I could see this ending with Jor-El, maybe General Zod actually winning and taking over and stopping time, and then they got to go back and reset time because they still have 200 years to before the ultimately the Earth gets exploded and the planet destroys and Superman gets created, right? But what if in that time they have to go back and create new times, just like on Flash, and there's multiple things that have reset times. He created Flashpoint at the end of the season, then he had to go back and reset it. So I think that could be an interesting idea, playing with that, having a season where this ends with General Zod in charge and in order, ready to take over and control and rule over Kandor, and I think that could be an interesting idea playing with, and having that throughout the whole season, and then at the end of the next season you kill him off or whatever, end him and send him back into the Phantom Zone, setting and putting it back on track for Superman. I think that could be quite interesting, seeing that. Maybe the Superman cloth, the Superman cape ends up going down to like a square inch, that's really pocketable, hanky type thing throughout the whole next season. And then just at the end, when they put General Zod into the Phantom Zone again, whether or not, because it's unclear whether or not the Phantom Zone is something that's been created yet or something that exists. It sounds like, General Zod, being the high in the military, hasn't even heard of that, so maybe it doesn't even exist yet. Maybe no one's built the Phantom Zone projector, so that'd be cool to see if that ends up existing at one point, or maybe Adam Strange could go to the future and grab it and come back. That'd be quite cool seeing that, and I like seeing bits and pieces of Adam Strange's timeline and where he's from. So all in all, I think I can't wait to see where things go with this. I could see where things are going. I like the idea of where things are going. We only do have 2 episodes left, so setting up the idea that General Zod is here to kind of rule everyone is an interesting idea, and not keeping him as not keeping him as too good and type thing, and trusting him too much. I get that, but at the same time, if they're going to set him up as the season 2 villain, as ruling over Kandor type thing and all that, which I don't think he wouldn't be a bad season 2 villain, but I feel like I would like someone a little bit bigger than just General Zod at this point, just this version of General Zod. He doesn't seem big enough as compared to Brainiac from this season 1. So going into season 2, I think it could be quite interesting going with that, but the idea that I really hope, since I'm assuming that when they filmed this, when they finished writing this, they did not know whether or not they were getting a season 2, and I don't even think we know yet whether or not they're getting a season 2. So hopefully it doesn't end with something that with a cliffhanger that's too kind of like need to know the answer type thing, too much of a big cliffhanger, because I hate when shows kind of do that. They get too presumptuous that they're going to get a season 2 and end on a huge cliffhanger. Hopefully they can end on something that kind of there's an opening for a season 2, but yet there's not necessarily a need for a season 2. So hopefully they can do that, just in case it doesn't get a season 2. But I think at this point, I think this should get a season 2. I mean, it's great quality. It's good shows. I'm not sure what the ratings are for this at all, but it's really going to be cool to see where things go with this. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below. What do you think about where things are going, and where do you think Adam Strange ended up coming back from? And that'll be quite cool to seeing where it is. And if you have any idea where Adam Strange got teleported to at the beginning of this episode, back in the first episode, when we heard Stardust and Stardart and Alana, let me know where that building is, because I'm not sure really where that white thing is. I thought it was maybe going to be like the Justice League. Before, when I heard the voice, but before he said the name, I thought it could maybe be the Watchtower in space. I think that could have made sense, but it wasn't. So we'll have to wait and see what it ends up being. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Season 1, Episode 8, Savage Night of Krypton, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace. Peace out. Oh, and I wanted to let you know that I also I'll be starting next week, starting Monday actually, a new job that will be about 12-hour shifts is what I'm told. So might change out how I do these reviews, so I might have to review them all on the weekend or something. We'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Kal-El, my future grandson. This is the story of the House of El. The story of your family isn't how we died, but how we lived.